A massive fire at an Ontario warehouse, and tonight police confirmed they have arrested the person they believe started it.
And the suspect is Chamil Abdul Kareem. He is a 29-year-old resident of Highland, California.
Police say the suspect worked at the warehouse for a third-party distributor, NFI Industries. Tonight, the company tells us they are cooperating with the investigation. The fire was reported around 12:30 Tuesday morning at this 1.2 million square foot concrete warehouse owned by Kimberly Clark, and it burned for hours.
It is a paper products warehouse, so there was an extremely large fuel load.
Fire officials said they knew immediately the fire was suspicious because of how out of control that fire was burning, despite a sprinkler system and alarm system being set off. 20 employees were inside and able to safely make it out. But police say one person was missing.
There was an employee reported missing. That employee was later found. We did make a connection that employee that was missing and found was confirmed to be the suspect.
As the building erupted to a ball of fire, people living nearby evacuated their homes, including mother Camille Marks.
Everything's okay though, you know what? We are safe.
I had to grab my 2 kids and run out of the house pretty much as fast as we could. I wasn't sure if it was going to hop over the little ravine back there.
No one was hurt and no homes damaged. The homeowners were left cleaning up ash that fell for miles across the Inland Empire.
Something like this, it just puts lives in danger.
Very large warehouse, approximately 1.2 million square foot concrete tilt-up warehouse. It is Kimberly Clark, which is a paper goods warehouse. So there is a very large fire load inside that structure, which obviously grew exponentially in a very quick period of time. So much as though we had.
So welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussions Show. And today we are discussing what's going on with these warehouse fires. And I have a twist to it. I believe that these things are intentionally done because they're moving, they need to rapidly move this AI and robotics into their space, because I don't see how a building that big with all those fire sprinklers and everything else, why didn't the water system go off? That's a big warehouse. And then not only that, this is a trend, meaning that these things are happening to 5 to 6 to 7 different locations. So we're going to scour the internet to find exactly what's going on, because the news only going to report on a certain thing, right? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask. This is another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Let's go.
Crews inside, we had to do what we call an operational retreat, and that is for firefighter safety. We had to quickly evacuate our firefighters and go from an interior fire attack to an exterior fire attack, in which you're seeing is being investigated as an arson fire. Very early on in this incident, we identified this fire as suspicious in nature, and so it was immediately began investigating as an arson fire. There was a person of interest identified from the very initial response of this incident. That individual was identified, was taken into custody, and has been taken to the Ontario Police Department, where the Ontario Fire Department arson investigator and the Ontario Police Department detectives are interviewing that individual.
Do y'all see? That is a large area for fire, and paper, and it's paper, not paper towels. It's actually tissue, which is considered an essential. Tissue is considered an essential. So we already know now tissue sales probably going to go up. If I just was to guess, tissue sales are about to skyrocket. That's just if I was to guess. Pay attention to the viewing. If you guys didn't see, pay attention to the viewing. Just pay attention to it. That's a large area. Think about it. That's a very, very large area. Then think about the health effect of what's going on around it, right? You also have residents that's close by within miles. So all the smoke that can be very hazardous to the environment and the community. So we're going to see exactly what's going on because, like I say, this could be a thing that's going to lead to the wrapping or the ramping up of AI and robotics in these areas. And whereas these buildings insured? Because these building was insured. We are let's go on to another video. I wanted to skip over to this one real quick, and we're talking about AI.
Yeah. Our next report delves into how AI and robots could be transforming several sectors around the world. Robots now coming for blue-collar jobs as well, from warehouses to factories. Is this the age of robots, and is the age of human labor collapsing? Take a look.
They work 24 hours. They never sleep. They don't take breaks. They don't unionize. And Amazon just decided they are better than you. 600,000 workers gone by 2033, according to reports by
600,000 workers gone. Like I say, I'm connecting this video to what's going on with the fires because they need to flatten, destroy. You got to destroy something to bring something, a new era up. People may not like the way that sounds, but you have to destroy it in order to rebuild it. You know, so I'm sure that area right there, that Amazon was probably a big warehouse. And that warehouse now, since it's one of the biggest warehouses in Ontario, that goes to show, hey, instead of us putting humans in here, won't we just put all robots in here? Because the robots isn't going to set fires. That's going to be one of their claims. They're not going to just set fires, but who knows? A robot can catch on fire if it's probably overworked. I will assume. I will just assume. But maybe not that intensity or that severe fire or that large amount of fire. I doubt that. But think about the displacement. See, if the robots is going to displace that many 600,000 workers, right? Then what happens when AI get in the mix? Just saying, leave your thoughts down below. I really would like to know what you think.
2027, Amazon will eliminate 160,000 jobs, and in next 6 years, over 600,000 positions that would have existed simply won't. The company will double its growth in sales, but it will halve its workforce.
Also, if you look at these Amazon trucks and all of that, they're self-driving. Some of these Amazon trucks are self-driving, and they even what they did was, hey, we're going to have like an Amazon Flex account where you get to use your own car to deliver packages. After a while, they don't really care about that because they're going to have these cars like these Waymo cars or these Uber cars that drives itself. Only thing they do is you just throw the package in. They may have a robot in the car and the car itself being a robot, and the robot literally just take the package to the door. Now, as far as an investment, I think that this is a great investment idea. You know, I think it's a great investment move if you decide to invest in Amazon, not financial advice, right? But you have to, when destruction is happening and things are changing, right? You got to roll with the punches. You got to go along with the changes. So I would definitely be investing into Amazon because it's going to be highly profitable. They cutting out all of these human labor servicers or services. They're cutting out all the fat. It means that they're going to become much leaner and more money, you know? So I would definitely be investing in Amazon.
The mathematics and economics are merciless. The savings, 30 cents per item, multiplied across billions of packages, That's $12.6 billion saved between 2025 and 2027. Automation isn't coming, it's already here, and it's exponentially profitable. But Amazon isn't alone. This is a global avalanche. Goldman Sachs estimates 300 million jobs worldwide will be displaced by AI and robotics.
300 million jobs will be displaced. I don't think you're hearing me. 300 million jobs will be displaced. So even when it comes time, think about factories. Think about jobs like robotic jobs, maybe like security, or think about the food industry. Think about the delivery services. Think about airplanes. Hell, they already damn near flying on their own. 300 million jobs will be displaced. This is why I tell people what I think that is going to happen in the future is they're going to roll out UBI, universal based income, where the government, they're going to print so much money that they have to give the money to the people. They have to, because where are the people going to work? We're talking about the mass amount of people here, the middle class. Where are they going to work? If there's no jobs, there and no work, then the economy is going to be at a standstill. Now, if there's no jobs for humans and you're replacing them with machinery, then there you have it. What would the humans then do? Leave your thoughts down below. What would we do?
By 2030, the World Economic Forum predicts 92 million jobs will disappear while 170 million new ones emerge, a net gain of 78 million. But here's the catch. 77% of new AI jobs require master's degrees. And who are the displaced workers? They are warehouse packers, cashiers, customer service agents, data entry clerks. They are not equipped for the transition. Japan has already lost 490,000 warehouse and assembly jobs to robots. China has restructured 1.2 million manual labor positions into tech-assisted roles. South Korea replaced 20% of factory workers with AI-enhanced automation in 2 years. In the UK, about 8 million jobs, that's 11% of full-time roles, were affected by AI in 2024 alone. We built an economy on the promise that technology creates more jobs than it destroys. History supported that. Every industrial revolution generated new opportunities. But this revolution is different. AI doesn't just automate tasks, it automates thinking.
That's that's a point that he just said, right? Other jobs will emerge. The competition is going to be so fierce for these other jobs. Other jobs will emerge out of this. Like what? That's what I would like to know. Like what? And is it going to cover the drastic change? I don't believe it's going to cover the drastic change. Like I say, the next thing that's on the horizon to me is UBI, universal based income, and that's what I see for the future. Now, this will make people more creative and do what they want to do in life as far as their purpose and everything else, right? But as far as the gap between the rich and the poor, it's either you're rich or you're wealthy or you're poor. It's no in between. It's no in between, because just look at the difference. Look at the difference. Now let's go on to, I wanted to show an AI video and a robotics video to let you know what's going on with the warehouse fires, because I personally believe that they're doing these things just to make sure that the warehouse just to roll out. To me, it's a rollout. To me, it's a rollout. So they're doing these things to roll out these fires, to actually roll out the new way of living, like the new norm. right? So let's go on. This is why I like TikTok, because you get different people's perspective and different angles, right? Just watch the video. Did they delete the video already? Yikes. Let's go.
Ohio is seeing its third major warehouse fire in recent days, following large blazes in New York and California. The latest fire reportedly involved an Amazon facility, though details remain limited as authorities investigate and local news outlets have yet to confirm the full scope. Social media reports and eyewitnesses indicate multiple incidents in the region, creating widespread concern. Earlier, a massive fire in Queens, New York drew significant attention, and California experienced a similarly devastating blaze at a distribution center. In addition, unverified reports suggest recent fires in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including a jean store and other warehouse properties. While official confirmation for some of these incidents is still pending, the emerging pattern highlights a potential spate of fires impacting logistics and retail facilities across the U.S. Authorities are urging residents and workers in affected areas to remain cautious as fire spread can be rapid. Emergency services continue to respond, and updates are expected once investigations provide more clarity. The rapid succession of fires in multiple states has left communities shaken and the news cycle struggling to keep pace. Ohio is seeing its third major warehouse fire in recent days, following large blazes in New York and
police say this massive warehouse fire was allegedly the work of a disgruntled employee.
The paper product alone that was inside of the warehouse was worth $500 million. The building itself was worth $150 million. In addition, count one, we filed an additional 6 more counts as it related to each separate fire that was started by the suspect in this particular.
So basically, that's over $600 million worth of damage. But the thing is, I'm sure it was insurance on the building. So they got their payout, and they're probably going to use that money to invest in AI, probably half that money to build the thing again and pocket the rest. To me, it was genius on the back end. This is why I don't believe that these fires are random. I think that this is, and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think that this is a new rollout. In order to build something, right? In order to build something that that's going to disrupt society, you have to destroy some things in your path in order to do so. You have to destroy some things in order to do so. It's no other way. It's like if you have a crowded city, you want to build a building in that city, but there's nowhere else to build a building. What would you do? And it may not be ethical, but some things in business aren't ethical. What would you do? Would you burn down another building or burn down a block of buildings just to place your own building up? Say if you own a small building, but if you burn down this building, burn down this block, you're going to get your insurance money, and then you can actually build upon that. Some people do that. Didn't the mob used to do that back in the days with restaurants and everything else and buildings? Didn't they accuse the World Trade Center of he took out an insurance policy a couple of weeks before the World Trade Center was hit? I'm just saying, insurance fraud is definitely a way. Not saying that Amazon committed insurance fraud. This is all allegedly, hypothetically, supposedly. But for some reason, these facilities, these distribution centers are burning down, and it's all happening at once. What does that tell you? It's an operation. I don't believe in coincidences. I hope that you don't either. Let's continue.
Case. This morning, we're announcing that we are also filing federal charges against Mr. Abdul Karim with arson, which carries a 5-year mandatory minimum federal prison sentence and is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. According to the federal complaint that we have filed, the defendant on early Tuesday morning filmed himself setting fire to multiple pallets of paper goods inside the Kimberly-Clark warehouse here in Ontario. This company's products include Kleenex and Huggies and are used nationwide, being sold and shipped throughout through interstate commerce, which provides us federal jurisdiction over this case. The defendant repeatedly boasted of his crimes.
And the thing is, why would you just record your, this is what I don't get about this new era. Why do you record your crimes? Like the police department or the FBI or the CIA or the drug force or the drug task, like they don't have accounts too. I never really understood that. But hey, I guess everyone wants to show and tell.
He posted Instagram videos showing himself lighting the merchandise on fire in the warehouse. He said, quote, you know, if you're not going to pay us enough to effing live or afford to live, at least pay us enough to not do this. So not only is he now facing state.
So the term is that everyone's running with, right? Pay your workers a livable wage. Hashtag. That's going to be the next hashtag. You should have paid us a livable wage. Pay your workers a livable wage. That's his reason on justifying this. Now, with him saying that, do you know how many supporters he's going to have? Because the mass amount of people feel like that in the world. Think about it. You've been working for X amount of years. Your paycheck hasn't went up at all, but you've been working, right? Everything else has been going up around you. It's considered inflation. From your food to hell, look at these gas prices, fertilizers, eggs, goods and services. All of those things are going up, correct? So if all of these things are going up and your check and your paycheck isn't going up, what does that mean for you? It means that you're literally at a standstill. Also, if you study money and you know how money goes, while everything else goes up, money itself, your purchasing power is going down. It's a double whammy. So are you really winning? You may be working as hard as you have to work, or even harder. But to me, the harder you work, the less you get. And not saying that you shouldn't work hard at all. You should work hard at the things that you need to work hard on. But we're just doing a example of how your money damn near has to work for you. You yourself can't push your money to make millions because you only have X amount of energy each day. You only have X amount of energy each day. And once it's used up, it's used up. But if you learn how to make your money make money, that's the thing. How to invest, how to put your money in a stocks accounts and investment accounts, and how to put your savings in a high yield savings, or how to have a successful cash flowing business, or how to build a subscription based business where you have loyal customers that's paying you on a monthly basis, then that's a whole nother thing. But that's when your money is making money. The average person money isn't making money. They are the sole source of their money, meaning that they're using their hands, their mind, they're using their body to accumulate this money. It has a expiration date because we all have to die. And also it has an energy wave, meaning that you can only work X amount of hours. Say if you work 16 hours, 15 hours a day, right? Which is a lot. You may work 60 to 80 hours a week, right? Even doing 60 to 80 hours a week, can you do 60, 80 hours a week when you're 75 years old? It wouldn't be wise. It wouldn't be wise. So saying it all to say, it's a point where you slow down. I think that everyone should learn how to invest, learn how to do some type of trading, learn how to make their money make money, have more than one source of income, maybe two. I think the minimum you should have is at least 2 sources of income. You could live on one and invest the other, and let your money make money if you want to beat and not be in this thing called rat race or a job.
Charges. The state will be proceeding first. He's in state custody. He'll be arraigned on his state charges. He now has a federal charge. He has a federal arrest warrant. So when he's done with the state, he'll come to us. And we look forward to ensuring that Mr. Abdul Karim is behind bars for a very long time.
If you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this.
Arson investigators say this video posted to social media is part of.
So another accidental warehouse fire just happened, and I just know these employees feel so bad right now. This brings the total up to 5 warehouse fires in less than a week. Worst being this one that was like a toilet paper warehouse where an employee accidentally lit multiple pallets of like toilet paper on fire, totaling something like $650 million worth of damage. Just the paper products alone in that California warehouse fire was $500 million. So guys, this whole thing is so sad because what on earth are these poor billionaires and like multi-millionaires going to do? Thankfully, some of these fires that were like started on certain levels were put out by the water system. Entire night shifts were canceled. These poor multi-billion-dollar businesses, we're talking about these sweet little companies like Amazon who make on a low side $450,000 per year per employee. If you do the math, these little businesses are making over $1,200 a day per employee. Some news outlets are saying the total is up to 6 warehouse fires. Guys, we're talking international. This isn't just happening in the United States. What is happening, like at this warehouse in Houston, Texas, it has got to stop. These poor rich people are going to have to spend a lot of money to rebuild. They cannot afford
I mean, they're gonna use insurance, and they're gonna get richer. They're gonna use insurance, and they're gonna get richer. It's just is what it is.
Accidents like this to keep happening across the globe. I can't speak about everyone else in the world. Americans right now are feeling so sad for what's happening. Whole thing just breaking everyone's heart for these poor warehouse owners. There could have been a simple way all of this could have been prevented. But until then, we are keeping these uber wealthy people in our prayers.
You know, if
Warehouse fire number 3 right here in Ohio. I was tagged about this. This is an Amazon warehouse that also just caught on fire. So this is the 3rd one after we just heard about New York and Queens, and then the other one in California where we saw the big video behind it, right? Now, this is breaking news. I don't know much about it. I was tagged in this. This happened.
They may try to blame it on Iran next.
I think perhaps today, along New York Queens fire that I was just reporting on earlier. And then somebody had told me about this, and I haven't been able to find any news about it online yet, but there's this special weather statement, moderate for a fire spread in Pennsylvania right now. So that's 4. 5 right here where somebody said a jeans store was set in fire in California. Again, I can't corroborate these things right now. These are just comments.
Let's go on to the next.
Spread awareness to a movement that is now going on.
Who movement is it? Young boy.
And you may be asking, what movement is that? What movement can cause 6 warehouse fires in the past 3 days? You seen all those warehouse fires and you like, man, these motherfuckers out here tripping. What trend they doing, man? You probably don't know what's going on, but this affects you just as much as it affects the next person. Go lie, we living in a world right now where you can't even afford groceries. Do you know how, look, do y'all remember that video I made a couple days ago where I told you that if you go broke, you can go crazy? My theory is if you go broke, you're not even alive. That's why people get so insane. If the world has made it so attached to monetary gain, like to the point where you have to live to get monetary gain, to the point that if you are broke, you genuinely have no reason to live. It's low-key sad to think about it. That's why people... That's why being broke hinders your sanity. Now, you going crazy by yourself in your mind when you broke, but imagine having a whole family depending on you solely. You will genuinely lose your mind. That's the life of a warehouse worker. I told y'all, remember the other story time I told y'all, you always got a warehouse employee friend that's always talking your head off from stress. He's always stressed because he has put himself in a situation where he has to work at a warehouse to sustain his whole life. And that's okay. But when you're not able to make enough money for what the economy's throwing at you, you're cooked. Now, you may be asking, why is he complaining about the job that he got, man? Seriously, for real, man. He chose this job. He chose his life. The fact of the matter is, back in 2017, if you had a job that was $30 an hour, you were genuinely decent. 9 years later, in 2026, that $30 an hour is worth $22 to $23 an hour. That's the ways you can get getting at McDonald's, my nigga. So that means if you've been working a job from 2017 to 2026 for $30 an hour, your time has been devalued. That $30 an hour is worth way less. Now, granted, the solution to that is to not commit arson. That's a crime. At the end of the day, I do not condone that. You feel what I'm saying? But if you want a good company-employee relationship, you gotta accommodate. The main problem with a lot of these companies nowadays is they are trying to not be for the people. You cannot succeed in the world right.
Well, I don't really think these companies care about the people. They only care about their shareholders. It's sad to say, but it's just the truth, right? They only care about the shareholders and they only care about their bottom line, and they really only care about making money because they're in the business of making money. They're in the business of making profit, even if they have to ax their employees, even if they have to overwork their employees, even if they have to pay their employees less. That's just the reality. You know, and I live in the reality. Like I see it from both sides. I see it from the employee side, but I also see it from the business owner side as well. Because if they don't satisfy their investors and their shareholders, and if they don't make profit, then they won't have a business, and these employees won't have anywhere to work. So they damn near have to take what they can take, or take what they get.
Right now for Gen Z, if you're not for the people, literally, people don't want to work at regular 9-to-5 jobs no more. Do you know how crazy that is? People don't even want to work a regular 9-to-5. Bro, everybody work 9-to-5s. Are we serious? You really got to actually think about it though. Why? Because the value of your work is getting devalued every time they up a price. The fact that I go to Targets, listen to this, Targets, and I have 2 bags of groceries and it comes up to $92. $92 for 2 bags of groceries. I promise you, buddy, that checked me out still making that same $15 an hour. None of his price ain't go up. But the price of that food I got went up. Even though the price of everything went up except for his wage. You may say, Hendo, man, that little ass Target job, who cares if his price ain't go up? He barely doing anything. Now, let's talk about the people that are genuinely doing things in your eyes. Let's talk about people that are picking up boxes, using forklifts, risking their lives.
He makes a valid point. He has a valid point.
A massive.
We're officially up to.
So the new synopsis is that all these warehouse fires are insurance fraud. We can't get ahead. We can't fucking get ahead with this goddamn revolution. This better be a lie. This better be a fucking lie. Now, as far as the Kimberly-Clark toilet paper warehouse, I believe it there. I do believe it a little bit there because everything was made of toilet paper. And there was no sprinkler system. You mean everything in this building is either toilet paper or tissue, and your sprinkler system is either non-existent or not working. What the fuck are you talking about?
And that's a fire code violation.
The only reason why I kind of don't believe that was insurance fraud is because there's a fucking patsy. There's someone about to do Fed time. I just saw on Bun Me Supreme's page, he's sitting here talking about $500 million in product, $100 million in damages to the building, $600 million. What the fuck? But there was no sprinkler system to protect it from fire? Then the Amazon warehouse. Is there even a suspect? I don't know. And there was another warehouse fire. So that mixed in with the other vigilante attacks like on Ron Gibson and Sam Altman, it doesn't add up. So I don't think they're all insurance fraud, but if one of them was, it's definitely the Kimberly-Clark warehouse. No one was hurt. No one was even in the building. I don't think anyone was even there or working or anything. So why were you there? Also, you're doing this video showing your crimes, and it's on your account. What was that, his account? What? Because if not, how they know it was him. But let me know if that was his account. But this is the one I want to not be fraud, because he's the one that's trying to fight for people to get paid more. You know what I mean? Can't pay us more, then fuck you, fuck everything you.
Before they pay us more, they're going to pay these robots. Before they pay us more, they're going to get robots to do it. And it's not that they can't pay us more. It's just that they're not into the business of paying us more. Let me repeat. They're not into the business of paying us more. It's not that they can't pay us more. They're not into the business of paying us more. Big difference. Let's continue.
People have been pushed past their breaking point.
Is that right?
Including a whole lot of folk who have never been uncomfortable financially before. In the past week, it has been reported that several warehouses have caught fire. Now, the ones that I found information on are the lumber cabinetry warehouse in Queens, New York. There was a chemical warehouse in New Jersey, an Amazon warehouse in West Jefferson, Ohio, which is near Columbus, though authorities say that they think that it was due to faulty solar panels.
What?
But the one that is in the limelight right now the most is the Kimberly Clark toilet paper warehouse fire. They have a suspect, and allegedly the suspect stated the reason that he did it was in the spirit of Luigi Mangione, and the fact that they're not paid a living wage. Everything is too expensive, and people are working 1 and 2 jobs, and many times 3 jobs, just to keep their head above water, and it's not enough. Gas is sky high, food, mortgage, and rent. And even though it's not being reported anymore in the media, don't forget the ACA subsidies for health insurance premiums lapsed at the end of December. It is now April, and Congress has done nothing to reinstate them. So many Americans have discovered that their health insurance premiums, in some cases, has quadrupled in cost.
That's a fact.
It is too much. And people are beginning to break. Folk are beginning to realize that having parades masquerading as protests is not going to cut it. I believe we are beginning to see the French Revolution moment here in the United States of America. There is talk of folk refusing to pay their federal income tax. So I think 2026 is going to be one for the record books, y'all.
Well, I always thought that before 2030 or 2033, we're going to have a revolution. The United States, Europe, we're going to have a civil war. We're going to have a civil war because it's going to be needed. Think about it. Think about how they're going to put AI and robots, and they think that people are just going to lay on the sidelines and just allow that to happen. It's just a matter of time, if you ask me. And I don't mean to induce fear or make this a fearful video. No, I'm just letting you know what I think and what the possibility states. And it looked like how else are people going to keep up? That's what I would like to know. They can't.
The man suspected of burning down a massive warehouse.
Okay, let's go on. It was one more person that I wanted to, that was on here. And it was one more person that was on here. Let me type it in again because sometimes you got to refresh to refresh. Okay, we got a couple more people. Talking about it. But I wanted, what's his name? The police officer that's paid by Netanyahu. Officer Tatum. Tatum, I think that's how you spell his name. Boom. We're going to end it with
now,
this.
Listen to what I'm going to say. Y'all have seen this going viral all over the internet. You see that this guy had burned down this facility that's absolutely massive, 11-block facility. One person doing it, I think there's something else to this. These buildings are built with fire code. When you have a building this massive, it is built so that the whole building can't burn down at one time.
That's what I thought.
And so you would argue that there's fire code regulations that block off rooms to isolate fires like this from spreading to the entire building through security.
And then there's also fire materials in the walls. There's also fire materials in the walls that prevent fires or from fires from spreading from one department or one sector to the next. What happened to that? Did they even build it with it in it? And how long was the police department notified when this fire happened? Why didn't they just go in there and try to put the fire out? Like, when were they called? When half the building was burnt up? Let's just say, let's just think about it.
Here, doors, all of those different things that you have, sprinkler systems, so that they don't have a warehouse that's completely burned in one swath. Now, how in the world did this whole thing burn down with one person?
That part.
If you ask me, I think it could be an inside job or something else going on here. One person burnt this whole building down, and you telling me this building was able to burn like this? And California has the most restrictions that you can imagine on anything. And you telling me this building is incapable of not burning completely down with toilet paper or paper towels in an 11-block facility. Whole building burned down. That's suspicious to me. Roll the clip.
Tonight, police say this massive warehouse fire was allegedly the work of a disgruntled employee.
One person?
Stunning new video appears to show the start of the fire. In the footage posted to social media, you hear someone say all you had to do was pay us enough to live, as stacks of toilet paper burn.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. There goes your inventory.
Last night, police announced the arrest of Chamil Abdul Kareem.
To me, that just seemed like a stage. That just seems staged. Like that would be the thing. You know how if you study society, you know what society is going through, and it's a few phrases that you could say. Well, you know what? People are going to gravitate and be attracted to these words. All you had to do is pay me more, or pay me a livable wage. You know how many people are saying that? So people are going to agree with that. So with people agreeing with that, that could say, if I was a genius, I say, okay, well, let's start one. Let's make the world believe that people, which is true. It's like mixing truth with lies at the same time to make it a reality. So let's make the people go out, and we could set a whole bunch of fires, right? But let's make the people feel like they're involved in it, or their opinion and what they thought is actually happening. When the whole time it was an inside job. It's like buildings blowing up, but you got demolition instead of it actually being blown up. It's like it's a lot of things that you get like, it's too perfect. One facility burnt down, another facility burnt down. Oh, people are on the rise. People are starting to wake up to say, hey, they're not paying us enough. You should have paid us a livable wage. I just think it's a game. It's an operation. It's an operation.
On suspicion of multiple felony arson-related charges, adding the 29-year-old is an employee of NFI Industries, a third-party distributor for Kimberly-Clark, the company known for manufacturing paper-based personal care and hygiene products.
We can confirm that he was on scene of the fire at the time that it started, yes.
In a statement, police say they can't comment on specifics, but are aware of this video, adding they will be utilizing any evidence for the investigation. According to fire officials, the blaze broke out in the early morning hours of yesterday in Ontario, California. Flames shot up in back of nearby homes as the fire tore through the approximately 1 million square foot warehouse.
Definitely was uncharacteristic fire. It definitely pushed our firefighters into that defensive operation, and that was one indication that it could possibly be a arson of nature.
In a statement, Kimberly-Clark said no one was injured and all workers were safely evacuated. Kareem has yet to be formally charged and is being held.
Some people probably thought they were getting paid fine. Now they have no work. Their jobs are gone. Everybody lost their job at one time. You that stupid and selfish that you say, because my employer don't pay me what I think I'm worth, everybody lose their job and I go to prison for the rest of my life and I get paid nothing. And I'm probably Big Tony gonna be on my back in the first 30 days.
And the thing is, people don't understand too, is people overvalue themselves. People overvalue themselves on what they actually think that they're worth. When you put it on a spreadsheet, you're not really worth much in the job force. You're not really worth that much in the job force. I'm just letting you know. You're not really worth that much. You may be worth $10, $11 for real, if that. If you got a college degree, maybe $13, $14. Because they don't really care about that either. They see can you do the work? Do you have experience with this work? Can you make us some money? Cutthroat business. Why do you think that they say that business is a cutthroat business? It's more dangerous than the streets. And it is actually the truth. It's actually the truth. Let's continue.
Does that make sense to you? Some people are so stupid, but like I said, I think that there must be a little more to this, because there's big issues here. If one person can burn 1 million square foot facility to the ground,
right?
That somebody is not doing their job. That fire code, there's something not right about this.
Where's security?
You tell me that the sprinkler system can't put out fires from toilet paper and plastic in isolated zones? Y'all have no technology. It's 2026, and they can't stop a 1 million foot facility that's probably got hundreds of millions of dollars worth of inventory from burning completely to the ground at the hands of one person with a lighter in their hand. That sounds crazy. 2 left shoes on an 8-legged man. All right, let's show. I think we showed the aftermath of it. This is just a quick clip of it. Look at how massive this.
All right, let's go on to the next one, and I want to end this one with I wanted to end this one with the AI and the robots, because like I say, this is a rollout to me. This is a rollout. It's a rollout plan. So let's end it with this one. Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. Let's do it.
Fiction, and it's not a distant dream. In the cutting-edge world of automation, robots aren't just assistants. They're the workers themselves. In fact, some of the most advanced factories today are running entirely on robotic systems, where machines not only build products, but handle logistics, make critical decisions, and even ensure everything operates without human intervention. This is not an exaggeration. It's a mind-bending reality that's unfolding in front of our eyes. The rise of robots in factories. A reality we can't ignore. Here's a mind-blowing fact. As of 2024, thousands of factories around the world have fully embraced automation, and in some cases, robots are running the entire show. The industrial robot market has seen a meteoric rise over the past few years, fueled by advancements in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotic technologies. In countries like Japan, South Korea, and Germany, the presence of robots on factory floors is so ubiquitous that entire production lines operate with little to no human involvement. Imagine a factory floor where robotic arms move seamlessly.
Don't let your vacation rental and your hammock be in.
So true. But we're going to end it with that one. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Leave your thoughts down below. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video. And let me know what you think. Should they pay us more for livable wages? Is this the reason why all these fires are happening? Or do you believe that they're rolling out a new plan to implement AI and robotics faster than before? On that note, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Once again, another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. And y'all know how I like to end it. Positivity over negativity. Always. Peace out.